All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Me here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. Big breaking news about the Eagles and Steely Dan a little bit in there. If you like Steely Dan, check out State Cows, because State Cows remember. I'm sorry, that's a different commercial. This is their album, Challenges. Again, very much like a Steely Dan Toto kind of thing. Basically, two guys from Sweden. They're really good. They do write about some things that I think are a bit alarmist, like their song Borrowed Time, but it does feature some great guitar work from legendary guitarist Michael Landau. So it's worth listening to The End of the World on Borrowed Time, because we're all on borrowed time. Yeah, it's true. But they're concerned, that it's getting really hot out, and we don't really know what we're going to do about that except for tax everybody and stop eating meat, because that's going to fix it. Anyway, folks, if you want to fix your musical diet, you can go over and listen to modernretrofm.com. That is Modern Retro Radio, with my buddy Audi and his team of DJs over there. You'll also hear yours truly doing some voiceover work, and it's pretty cool to be on the radio again, I must say. What's really kind of unfortunate is the fact that the Eagles have decided to call it a career. Holy crap, Batman. We know they're not recording anything. At least that's what they've told us. And now they've announced their Long Goodbye Farewell Tour, obviously a reference to their album The Long Run, or The Long Road Out of Eden. Either way, they're calling it The Long Goodbye. This is pretty epic, folks, and I think they actually mean it this time. The Eagles have announced the Long Goodbye Farewell Tour, officially billed as the legendary rock group's final trek. Steely Dan will serve as the opening act for the tour. Now, I did this video a few weeks ago, and I'm like, hey, it's summer. Where is Steely Dan? Where did the Eagles go? And here they are. They answered that question. You could see the first 13 announced dates. They've been posted. Tickets will go on sale for those shows on Friday, July 14th at 10 a.m. local time. So, that's next Friday? Not this Friday, but next Friday. This is a really big deal. The Eagles have had this is a statement from the band, they've had a miraculous 52-year odyssey performing for people all over the globe, keeping the music alive in the face of tragic losses, upheavals, and setbacks of many kinds, like Don Felder. Credit and thanks go to our longtime management team, Irving Azoff, our dedicated road crew, and our exceptional backup musicians for providing skilled and steadfast support throughout these many years. We know how fortunate we are, and we are truly grateful. They go on to say, our long run has lasted far longer than any of us ever dreamed. But everything has its time, and the time has come for us to close the circle. So they've got 13 dates announced, but the band promised to perform as many shows in each market as their audience demands. So if you want more Eagles, you can get more Eagles by yelling at the band and saying, look, guys, I know you were here. I know I maxed out the American Express Platinum card, right? You'll get really good seats with that card, though, by the way, I think, if you have it, because that's typically how they do it. And I have no way to pay this credit card bill down, but I'm hoping that you guys come back. We hope to see as many of you as we can. How much is this going to cost you? That should be one of the questions that they answer here. Anyway, they say they want to see as many of you as possible before they finish up. Most importantly, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for embracing this band and its music. At the end of the day, you are the reason we have been able to carry on for over 5 decades. This is our swan song, but the music goes on and on. So the group lineup, this is interesting. This is kind of a little blockbuster announcement here. The group's lineup will consist of legacy members Don Henley, Joe Walsh, and Timothy B. Schmidt, along with Vince Gill and, drumroll, Deacon Frey. So Deacon Frey is coming back again. The latter two musicians joined the band in 2017 following the death of Deacon's father and Eagles co-founder Glenn Frey. In April of 2022, it was announced that Deacon had left the group, but he did return for a pair of shows 2 months later. So Deacon has been brought back into the fold for the farewell tour. The first performance is slated for September 7th at Madison Square Garden in New York. And you can check out all the dates below, that is on the Eagles website. Now, the Eagles and Steely Dan have had a long history together in their heydays. Both groups were managed by Irving Azoff, of course. The respective musicians forged a friendship and even referenced each other in their songs. Steely Dan's tune Everything You Did included the line, "Turn up the Eagles, the neighbors are listening." Meanwhile, the Eagles referenced Steely Dan in the lyrics to Hotel California, those Steely Knives. You know, that would be a great name for a band, like a tribute band that did both Steely Dan and the Eagles. Call it Steely Knives. One of the things that impressed us about Steely Dan was that they would say anything in their songs and it didn't have to necessarily make sense, according to the late, great Glenn Frey, adding that the Eagles were sort of a normal band that was trying to expand their lyrical horizons and just take on something in the realm of the bizarre, as Steely Dan had done. Needless to say, the Eagles really never did that stuff, so they kept their lyrics fairly straightforward, although there have been a few instances where maybe they tried to be a little bit like Steely Dan, but not all that much. The Eagles will always be that more accessible band than Steely Dan, but I think the combo of the two bands is quite impressive for the Long Goodbye Farewell Tour. Again, I'm wondering how much tickets are going to cost for this. It's going to be a lot. So again, somebody wants to take me to one of these shows. They're going and it's somewhere in Florida and you want to spend a couple of grand on poor me here. Again, the algorithm pushing back. I do not have any money in the budget to go see Steely Dan and the Eagles, and that's fine. I've seen Don Henley. I saw him in 1985. That's as close as I got to seeing the Eagles. I don't think I've ever seen Steely Dan. Yeah. Although, again, without Walter Becker there, without Glenn Frey there, although Deacon, again, makes it a lot more palatable to go see the Eagles. I'm not a huge Vince Gill fan. I know a lot of people are. I still don't understand, other than name ID and the fact that Don Henley thinks the world of Vince Gill. One thing at an Eagles concert, Don Henley gets a little irritated if you start filming stuff with your cell phone. I think they have a policy where you got to put the thing away. And if you upload stuff to YouTube, they're going to find it and they're going to get it taken down. For the most part, I've seen a few things stay up a little bit longer, but if you're going to go see an Eagles concert, you just have to kind of focus on the concert and try to remember it in your brain, the way we used to do it back in, I don't know, pick a decade other than the last 2 decades, and I think people will understand what I'm saying. So this is big news. Eagles and Steely Dan, tickets are less than a mortgage payment, possibly, and Deacon Frey returns for this farewell. So that's pretty cool news. And if you're a fan of Steely Dan, check out State Cows. I always want to just say State Cows Remember, but I'm not going to keep doing that, even though I just did. This is their album Challenges. It's really good if you want to hear some next generation Steely Dan Toto sounding stuff. Don't forget to listen to Modern Retro Radio. They're playing the new track by Steve Lukather. So there's the tie-in with Toto. Perfect, right? You're not going to hear that on terrestrial radio stations. Kind of a bummer. But the Eagles, that's a big deal. This looks like the final farewell for the Eagles. I'll keep you up to date if there's any more information about Steely Dan and the Eagles. And I want to just thank everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're not hitting the bell for notifications on new videos, you should do that. You can help me out via Patreon and also through YouTube memberships. If you like the content and you want to, have a conversation over on Patreon, I talk to people multiple times a day, multiple people over there on Patreon. So for $1 a month, you can sign up and do that. Or if you want to be a wealthy donor and give like $1,000 a month, then you will keep this channel solvent for many years to come. All right. God bless everyone. God bless America. God bless the Eagles and Steely Dan. Holy crap, Batman. It's the final tour.